very big honor to have you here. I wish we can expand it even more to have more people. But again, it's not for everyone. It started last year, we only had 20 or 25. I was like, Sobo was telling me we had almost 50 registrants. I was like, no, I can't have more. This year he was asking me, let's make it a little bit bigger. I said, not more than this number that we can be able to host in the room. Because it's not for everyone, right? And that's the same thing. It costs money, it costs resources, but purpose costs life. Like you heard people say, it's about blood and life. And everything that you've seen people talk today is just nothing more than people pouring their heart into what they want. First, you have to identify that thing that you want to be. You know, if I start to sharing my story or where I'm coming from, it's just long story way back. But it's just, like everyone said, I have a very poor beginning, a very poor background. It just doesn't start like this. You don't see a typical African man with an accent standing in the midst of people in the United States commanding forces. It doesn't just happen. It's just not something that is conventional. It's just something like, sometimes I tell my friends, I say, I sit in a room and we have meetings and I'm sitting in the high table and around me are colonels, white people, and I'm the only black man sprinkled in the room, and I'm asking myself, is this okay? But life in general is not okay because you become exclusive, because you have to become outstanding if you must stand. And if you must stand, if you ever have to stand, please be outstanding. If not, just sit. Because standing is very in itself painful. And if you have to stand, make sure you are outstanding. And that's if you don't take anything home, remember this. Plan. My friends will always tell me that I always have option A, B, C, and D. I call it a PACE plan. If that's what we call in the military, I'm just going to give you a little bit of military background and drills. We call it PACE plan. One is P, is the primary. A is the alternate. C is the contingent. And E is the emergency. The world is globally changing very fast and in a very fast pace. Things are evolving. Before now, they used to say if you want to come to the US, you should do nursing, right? Because it was something that was in vogue. Now, people are looking into cyber because the US has been attacked here and there. You hear about Russia and Ukraine crisis that is happening. You hear about China. You hear about North Korea. All of these things happening. The US want more people that will be able to go into cyber. But does that mean that cyber is going to be the thing for tomorrow? Probably not. I remember when I was growing up, agriculture was a thing. They told us that agriculture is a thing. If you're into agriculture, it's life for life. But now, it's not really the case because things have changed and it's constantly evolving over time. And that's why when you plan, you do what? You plan again, and plan again, and plan again. And let nobody tell you this. You don't have money. Don't ever accept it. Never you ever take no for an answer. That is a philosophy that someone told me. One of my friends, I was trying to apply to go to the US. Like they said, people wanted to leave. I was one of those that wanted to leave right from secondary school. I started applying to go to the US, and I went to embassy for interview. The lady, after the interview, I failed. He said, sorry, you're not ready to go to the US. You know what I said then? I was just so naive. Please don't tell my sister this. But when they asked me, why are you going to the US? What do you want to do? Why did you choose to go to the school you're applying to go to? I was applying to Morgan State University in Maryland. And I said, oh, because there are more black people in the school, and it made me feel comfortable. You're talking to a white woman that is interviewing me, and she's like, that's exactly what she told me. Like, I'm so sorry you're not ready to go to the US now. Maybe you should try again later. I couldn't understand why. Like in my whole dream, I answered everything she asked me very correctly, and I was very polite, and I was very respectful. It didn't happen. I went home, right? And I went back again second time. The guy was like, why did they deny you the first time? I was like, no, the woman didn't just tell me anything. No, she just said, and the guy said, sorry, come back again. And that was it. And I went back, and that's how I ended up in ASUT. But prior to that, everybody keeps saying, doctor. You know, then, when you know a little bit book, everybody will call you doctor. And your mom will start, lawyer, doctor, engineer. Everybody will start calling me Mama, your mother wants to be Mama Dog. So I'll be passing the street, everybody will be saying doctor, doctor. I didn't want to be a medical doctor. I don't have the passion. I don't have the empathy. I am one person that if you're crying in front of me, it doesn't cross my heart. Like, it just doesn't. So maybe I'm in the right profession, right? It just doesn't work. So now if you're a patient in my bedside, I'll probably tell you, dude, why are you doing like this? It's more headache. Get it together now. Then that is wrong, right? So it wouldn't be a good profession for me. And I just understood it early on as a child that I don't have that empathy. In my family, they say I'm the meanest person. Because I'm the guy that when you ask for money, I'll ask you, what do you need the money for? Like, can you give me a breakdown of what is it for? Nobody wants to ask you for money because you have to think and come back with an idea. Because remember, I always have A, B, C, D options, right? So you don't just come to me with one idea. It's just not, it doesn't happen. And Mercy will tell you, my friends that I have both in states are here, it seems like I'm the pack of all, right? But because I don't believe in no, and I don't believe in failure. Because failure is just a reciprocal of something not planning right. It just does not mean that things does not fail, right? Nature in itself, we are bound to fail, right? So everybody, when things happen, we are naturally designed to fail. When you wake up in the morning, does your body want to wake up? No. That's not what it's designed to do. It's designed to lay down in that bed. You have to wake him up, right? When you want to eat, do you want to stop? You just want to keep eating what is sweet. Or if you do, you become a glutton and you become big, right? In itself, in its totality, nature designed it for us to fail. But that is what we do, is to push and pull and move against the force of nature not to fail. So when you plan, please plan again and plan again and plan again. Always have a base plan, right? So when we talk about redefining purpose in an evolving society, because the condition of the society is constantly changing, please ask yourself, is what you're venturing into? Someone asked me, when you were in Nigeria, did you plan on getting a doctorate degree in microbiology? I'm like, no, because people I've seen that go to get a PhD is like older people in their 50s, right? But when I go to the US, everything changed. Actually, I didn't come to the US to study microbiology. I've already gone to ASUD. I didn't tell you, somebody would tell me I always have an unfinished story. Because now I didn't tell you how I ended up getting my visa. Because I'm now in the US, right? Because I ended up in ASUD and I went on to get a microbiology degree. Before then, prior to even going to ASUD, I started working for Juhel as their quality control staff. They employed me as a microbiology in Juhel when I've not even gone to school. Then, now that people came, they told me, please tell them, microbiology, do you have a degree in microbiology? And all of this packaged stuff. But they pay me peanuts, right? And I left, I went to ASUD, got my degree, finished my degree, and everybody will always say that the school you go to define you. I don't believe it. Because after I finished my bachelor's, they say you have to do a master's degree for you to get into a PhD. That is not true for me. I didn't do that. When I stepped in, remember, I don't take no for an answer. When I called the Dean of Faculty of Natural Sciences, I said, I want to come into the PhD program. So can I see your transcript? You don't have a master's degree? I said, yes, sir. I have a bachelor's degree. And I did a thesis. Remember this, is what Solomon was saying. You have to understand the concept of what you're doing, no matter how little it is. We do it here in Nigeria, we call it project. That is thesis. Americans don't do project. You don't do it, they don't do it. So that is an extra thing that master students are already doing. That's what we're doing here. For the fact that you write project as an undergraduate, you're way ahead of the curve. So don't let anybody fool you that what we do here is not up to standard. That's not true. That's not true. She said something. She said, everything we are looking out there is right here. Don't let anybody fool you. I mean, the truth is said that there's a system that works over there. But we have a structure that we've embedded and brought it in here. But our people has failed us to be able to explain what that structure is. It took me to be able to learn and understand what that structure is, to understand, and that was the boldness I went. I said, sir, I have a thesis. So you have a thesis? I said, I did a thesis in undergraduate. And she said, can I see it? I said, sure. I sent a copy of my project. So you wrote this? I said, it was graded. You can see it in my transcript. I made an A in my thesis. I keep using the word thesis because that's what they understand. But if I keep saying project, the guy will be like, project. And when you keep saying course, like we say course here, like I'm taking a course, I'm taking 5 courses. They don't know it. They take classes. So if you want to go to Europe, the way they speak is so different. You want to go to the US, the way they speak is so different. Right? If you want to become a soldier, the way soldiers speak is so different. But it's an evolving society that you have to integrate yourself into it depending on which direction you're going to. And lastly, never you allow anybody to tell you that it's not possible. Just before I joined the army, when I came into the US, I only spent 2 years in the US and they told me that it's not possible for you to get your citizenship. Right. It's true that it's not possible. I said, okay. I started reading. What are the options for me to be able to get what I want? And I realized that if I speak Igbo, I saw on the immigration website, if you speak these 3 languages from Nigeria, Igbo, Hausa, Yoruba, you can actually join the army. I said, really? Are you serious? I applied and they said that. My friends were like, this is fake. This is not going to work. I'm like, okay, well, the guy that interviewed me, I was actually from my village. And the guy works for the US government but speaks Igbo for them. He doesn't know me, I don't know him, because it was supposed to be a blind interview where there is someone that speaks, an American that speaks English very fluently that does not understand Igbo, that will listen to the conversation. So it's a 3-way phone conversation. So the guy is in Nigeria, you have an American in the US, and I have in a different room. So now the guy will be asking me a question in English, the guy understands it, I will respond in Igbo. This guy should not understand what I responded because if I'm speaking that language that he doesn't understand. So he's taking notes of how much he can pick and understand from the question that was asked. That was how after the whole thing they said I passed. The guy actually, okay, so I said, you know what, I'm from Amuri. The guy, I said in my head, worst case scenario, I am Swapa and Amuri. I will start speaking my core dialect. Literally the idea that the guy was from my village. Americans, please be careful with them. So when the guy now told me, if you want to speak Central Igbo, speak. Oh, if you want to speak your dialect, speak, I understand. If you want to speak Delta Igbo, speak, I also understand. Fear, P. I started panicking. But I say all this to tell you that it's possible, right? You just get to that point where you don't take it. If I had taken no for an answer when people had told me it's not possible, I would have gone home and said it's not true. Then I finished that and everything went on. And at the end of the day, I joined the army. It was successful. I went through the trainings and all that. But see the catch. They enlisted me as I enlisted. So you see all these soldiers that stand on the street, on the road. That is the type of, in America we don't stand on the road, we don't carry guns. But that's the type of soldier where you have your, they will tell you to mop the ground, clean the floor and all of that. That's not who I wanted to be. Look, I'm also getting my doctorate degree at the time. This is not me. I'm dealing with 18-year-olds that just joined recruits, that joined the army. And that's the level where I am. I told them, I want to be an officer. They said, no, the way you came in, nobody has ever done it. I said, okay, we have to figure out, they say you need it. There is always somebody now told me, he said, always there's an exception to policy. I didn't know that term. They said there's always an exception. You see, remember this, for everything, there's always an exception to policy. I said, really? I said, yeah, it's just you need maybe a general, somebody somewhere can write that exception to policy. They just need to write a memo and say that it's okay. It's okay. Well, now I started figuring out how do I get an exception to policy? I spoke to this person that helped me connect me to this person. That now connected me to this person. Now it now ended up, I think it was the 5th person. That told me, oh, it's General Link. She's the person she's a brigadier, she's a major general at the time. Now became a lieutenant general. She's the first female surgeon of the United States Army. And she made it to lieutenant general. And they told me that she's the one that was signed. She's in Pinnacolis, Florida. And I was all the way in Alabama. I don't know her, she doesn't know me. The person that was recommending me is lowest rank that started building me up to the next person. They told me that it would be General Link that would be able to write me that because I'm medical. So I'm coming in as a microbiologist. So she's the one, she's the Surgeon General of the United States Army. So she's the one that will sign off on that and say that hey, this is an exception. I don't know how to get to General Link. I have no clue. Spoke to someone that continued to speak to someone. Finally, my document ended up in her table. The day, this started 6 months making its way. Finally made it to her table. She's retiring the next day. She just signed. It's part of the last things she signed before she retired. So, and at the same time, it could have been that if I had said, okay, they said it's not possible and I would just go back and chill, right? I wouldn't be here. That's how I became a commissioned officer. I gained my commission and everything went on. And they said it's not true. Science officers can never lead command. What did they know? People that actually lead commands. True, people that lead commands are combatants. You know, the soldiers, the infantry guys that go to war, that sit in the forefront. I am a science guy that sits in the lab. And like when my job kind of became fun, like she said, it's during COVID. 2020 was very fun. We were very busy. We were trying to figure out this COVID thing, trying to create vaccine, we're trying to create testing. It was just working. I was so enjoying it. Everything was just, the government were pumping money. I said I need a robot that costs $2 million. They said, sure, here's the money. Order it. Anything you just need, they say you just need it. There you go, as long as we can find something, right? But there and then, after COVID died down, I said I'll wrap up, and I said I want to do command. I just want to do something different. They told me it's stressful, and nobody in sciences has ever done command. They don't give it to us. They set up a panel. I went for interview. What I did that everyone didn't do, I came with my own mission statement. I came prepared with my mission. As soon as I walked in, I said, "This is my mission statement." We call it in the military. We call it state philosophy, statement of philosophy. So that's how your leadership philosophy. So that's your leadership philosophy. How do you lead? Because the way he sees leadership is not the way I see leadership. The way the other person commands is not the way I command. Like I am a traditional, so I believe that things should be the way they were originally designed to be. There's no need changing it and tweaking it. If it's working, if it ain't broken, don't fix it. That's me, right? Some people believe that we can tweak things and try to make it work. I don't believe it. I just think if it's working, it's working. Let's continue making use of it and make it work. So I laid out my leadership philosophy and I gave it to them. At the end of the interview, they interviewed about 8 other soldiers or 8 other captains, and they were like, this guy stood out, he impressed us, he actually came with his own philosophy. So he was prepared. So it's all about, again, remember I said, if you don't take anything out, plan, and plan again. So at the time of planning, continue to make your research and everything. And that's how I'm here, and I'm looking forward to us, communicating and talking more into this in the short time that we have. But thank you so much for coming, and I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.